Good evening and welcome to the Hiring Your Heroes virtual career community. We're excited to have you join us tonight. My name is Alexandra Johnston and I'm the program manager for the Corporate Fellowship Program and the Military Spouse Fellowship Program in Tampa and Orlando, Florida. Normally our events center around the candidates and veterans looking for employment, whereas tonight we will stay focused on the other side of the equation, the employers, and most importantly, how to utilize Indeed. I'm thrilled to be here for this session, which will be focused on the tools available to you through Indeed and how Indeed can help you navigate veteran talent. In preparation for this call, I had a discussion about how all employers already use Indeed, but it can be argued that most employers might not fully know how to use it. So we hope that tonight we can bridge that gap and make sure you know how to utilize everything that is available to you through Indeed. That being said, I'm so glad to be joined tonight with Andrew Dennis from Indeed. He's going to walk us through the platform and help us better understand the power of Indeed. If this is your first time joining us, I'd like to add a reminder that there's a Q&A section at the bottom of the screen where you can put in your questions. As Drew walks us through his presentation, if you have questions as he's presenting, please put them in the Q&A rather than the chat function. And I'll be keeping track of those questions and we will be able to answer those at the end. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Drew. So please take it away.
Hey, thank you so much. Pleasure to be here, and we have some exciting new information that we want to share with everybody who is on this call tonight. Like you mentioned, Andrew here from Indeed.com. We're going to be covering how to navigate the veteran hiring space. We're going to touch upon a lot of the data that has come out of COVID-19. We're always updating this data as we see it on a timely basis. And we also want to ensure that you guys understand all the capabilities and all the different data points that Indeed can help your companies with when you strategize to hire more veterans. So to kick this off, we just want to show that Indeed is where people go to search for jobs. As we partner with Hiring Our Heroes, we are getting more and more into the military community, and we're going to be showing how we're making an impact there. And we just want to kind of give you a reference of how many job seekers come here. And with those 60 million job seekers per month, that enables us to have over 60 million unique data points to understand what are they doing, what are they searching for, and how to best get in front of these job seekers when you're trying to hire them. Those are our mission statement. People get jobs. During COVID-19, we really want to just overstate that we're here to help. Whether you're on a hiring freeze, you're going through starting to ramp back up hiring process, we want to make sure that we're here to answer any questions and help you along the way so you can make the best decisions moving forward. And, kind of touching upon what we were speaking about before when it comes to data, I think data is more important than ever, especially now that it's the new norm. We can really help create more efficient campaigns, going after we're able to really uncover these data points and give them to your team so you're able to make those strategic decisions on where to hire next. One of the biggest things that we've seen change is the interest in remote work. To no surprise, now that most companies are having to keep their business from home, now more and more job seekers are taking that as an opportunity to search for which company. Not every job can be performed at home, as we know, but just knowing that these job seekers are searching for those types of roles can really impact your business. So some of the data that we see here, and this is not really veteran focused, but really when we're looking at all the civilian job seekers out there, that increase of work from home versus average site performance jump up by about 235%. And then also for candidates, typing in immediate work, looking for now, that's increased by a tremendous amount as well. And one thing that we've seen here, which is great news for those companies looking for tech talent, which is always hard to find, especially software developers. There's actually an increase in the amount of engagement going on the site, almost by 50% for tech for software development roles. So whereas in the past, if you had trouble hiring folks or it was too expensive to hire folks for this, now may be the time to get in on those job seekers and invite them into your organization. For job seekers that are searching for medical roles, all of that has increased as well. This is great to see because even before COVID-19, the amount of jobs that were open in the medical field really outweighed the amount of candidates that were applying for these jobs. So it's really something to be said, and registered nurses out there who are trying to fulfill the gaps and get in and really make a difference. And one of the most interesting data sets that we've seen in the flip flop of industries. So while some industries are struggling to attract candidates, others are really thriving. So before, hospitality, childcare, sales, retail, those were the jobs that job seekers were really gravitating towards pre-COVID. And now during COVID, we're seeing that increase in applications for the nursing, for the physical physicians, the dental and driving positions. So it's been a big change in the marketplace by, seeing what are the job seekers going for. More opportunity that presents itself on the higher end of the chart. That's also going to lead to that pivot and that transferable skills that these candidates are going to try to use to find. So when it's time to hire, again, even if you're on a pause right now, why first choice? We're here to help really segment out the audience of veterans to civilians or combine them both in the type of targeting that we do with your organization. And one thing that most employers have said, and as this survey points out, employers hire military veterans due to their excellent qualifications. I think that is no really better time than the present when you start looking at what type of candidates have decision-making skills, organizational skills, adaptability, problem solving, especially as a lot of companies start to make those pivots and change the way they're doing business. You want to have those candidates who have that type of background, who can really understand how to answer the call. Now we're going to start getting a little bit into, more about the veteran job seekers coming to Indeed and how we're able to layer on all the data and analytics that you just saw into making a stronger campaign to attract these candidates. One thing that we're able to do here is, again, segment out the military audience. So you're able to target, brand, source, and screen these candidates for your military teams. Or if you have a general talent acquisition type organization internally set up over there, you're also able to candidates with direct veteran messaging with that type of messaging as well. So we're able to layer any type of data point onto your campaigns and really strategize with you as you're really hiring for these folks. We work alongside some of the thought leaders, hiring, of course, but really, to get into this space is no easy task, and really to present a lot of opportunity next careers really comes to the success of working with all the folks that you saw there. Typically, right now, what we're seeing is over 75,000 job seekers with military experience are adding more to their military service or updating their resume. It's a tremendous increase. And that was an increase before COVID-19, and now even more of an increase during COVID-19 as well. Just to show kind of what we've been able to the past few years, we're 7.5 million military experienced job seekers for their next experience. So as you see on this graph here, we've already added more uh, military service experienced candidates to our platform that we have in years past. We're not even halfway through the year yet, which really shows that these candidates are to find their next career. And what we're able to do is bridge that gap and help you target and source these candidates as they're. So about 1.4 million jobs on Indeed every month have the words military or veteran in the job description. You see about 440,000 average searches on Indeed that include those terms. So what these two is employers are putting a ton of jobs onto this platform with those keywords military and veteran in the job description. But we're also seeing the military community start searching for those keywords because they want to search and find who are employers out there, who are the employers that understand my background, skill sets, and how do I get in front of them. So again, we're bridging the gap and we're able to help you understand all that data so we in front of those job seekers. And there's about 7.8 million on jobs each month from veterans on Indeed. For slides and really data points that we want to highlight here is visualize and help you strategize on understanding where are these job seekers, what jobs are they clicking on, what locations are they in. You know, say pre-COVID days when you would travel to Fort Campbell a few times a year, our team over here is able to help you show, you know, are there customer service roles in that area? Are there job seekers who have military experience clicking on those types of roles? We're able to overlay a ton of different data points so you can make sense of where the population that you have to target for your open roles really are. And I think this really helps a ton of folks pinpoint which are the best bases for them to travel to really get that talent that they need. And one of the other things that we like to do over here is give you away, you know, freebies, right? So any employer with a resume subscription is able to access and contact over 1.75 million veterans in our database for free. Contact go against the count that how much you have per month. Whereas if you filter for military service candidates, it doesn't go against your contacts. So we're always happy to explain this and show you how to best utilize this service as well. And one thing that we really wanted to do during COVID-19 is get the job seekers who are looking to connect with employers who are ready to work today. How do they highlight that? So the profile is if they are ready to work, they're able to do so, and employers are able to filter for that talent as well. And we've had over 4.7 million job seekers add ready to work to their resume since this all began. And another data point that I like to share not only with employers, but really with the transition in population and veterans looking for their next job is showing that peer-to-peer data, right? What are veterans actually interested in doing? What are veterans clicking on, engaging with, and what jobs are they applying to? On some of those job categories that the veterans are showing a lot of interest in, these really stuck out because they're assisting in the fight against COVID-19. When you're looking at those management, driving, loading and stocking, medical technician and nursing type positions, they're the ones that are the experts in moving supplies from point A to point B. Now we're seeing that in the civilian sector as well. So another reason why tapping into the military audience and tapping into that community is really going to help your business grow. So one thing I really wanted to address during this webinar too is looking at the data of some of the other aspects of the military community, kind of peel back some of the layers. And a question I get asked a lot from employers are, how are we able to attract more diverse candidates if your company has a diversity and inclusion initiative? So one thing that I always say is tap into the military community, right? We see that the military is one of the most diverse populations of job seekers. So I really wanted to understand some of that data and share it with you all to give you a better perspective of what post 9/11 veterans look like. So we see that about 350,000 African American service members are either in the selective reserve or they're active duty. We're seeing that about 16% are African American out of the entire military population, and that's compared to about 13% of the general population. So if you were to look in to hire more diversity for your organization and you're just tapping into the civilian sector, you would actually have a better chance of hiring this population if you're tapping into the military community with more targeted ads, with better content to really reach this population. And also 23% of the African American veteran workforce are female. So that's another aspect to really consider when you're putting together your strategy. And some of the top challenges that we've seen amongst the African American veterans, number one is getting a job. 62% have said that on a study done by the IVMF. 40% have trouble with employment preparation. 37% skills translation, and 35% getting socialized to civilian culture. And something that stuck out to me last week when I started looking through this study and trying to understand this is these are all aspects that we can help make a difference in. 62% getting a job. Well, working together, we can help curb that. We can help really attract these candidates and ensure that they're able to get a position, they're able to find a job. Employment preparation. Again, with the work of Hiring Our Heroes and Indeed, we're really able to get out a lot of information on how to get ready for an interview or how to get ready for employment. So again, something that we can all work together on. Skills translation, same thing, as well as getting socialized to civilian culture. So I don't know how many folks on the call have an internal resource group, but at Indeed, our Veterans and Allies group is an excellent internal IRG that is able to do that. We're able to go out and reach out to new candidates that join our organization and let them know, hey, we're here to listen, but we're also here to help you socialize into the culture of this company. Top 5 industries that we've seen African American veterans engage with are everything through public administration to healthcare, transportation, manufacturing, and retail. But one of the aspects that stuck out to me the most is 41% of these veterans reported that they specialized in STEM. So I think understanding where that drop off occurred and how we're able to get in front of these candidates and present STEM types of positions to them. So, they're able to do maybe what they wanted to do after military rather than clicking on a job or finding a job that maybe isn't 100% of what their interest may be. So again, really, I think understanding the data and getting in front of this audience with the right message can really help bring in better candidates to your organization. And some of the things that we've seen in the military spouse sector as well is one, their underemployment is really one of the number one things that hurt military spouses. Sometimes they're just taking jobs to take jobs in an area where they know they can do a lot better, but maybe employers, or maybe there's just not that type of industry at the base that they're located at. Employment gaps. This is something that we're trying to solve over here at Indeed, along with many of the folks on this call as well. How do we make sense of those employment gaps? How are we able to really educate military spouses on how to best present that information? And how do companies that are looking to hire military spouses really stand out? How could we educate our own teams to understand how to look at their resume? And then being underpaid. So on average, a military spouse is going to earn less than 20% in wage and salary income compared to their non-military spouse peers. Again, that's pretty troubling stats when you look at it. But I think all the employers on this call are really putting their best foot forward and trying to hire more military spouses. So why consider a spouse? One, they're adaptive, they're competent, their longevity and their incredible diverse, strong skill set are all things that really stand out. But they're extremely intelligent, right? They're well traveled. They're able to pick up a home, a family, a life, and move it from one location to another, while juggling everything else that life really has to throw at them. So again, hiring a military spouse isn't really the right thing, but it's the best thing to do for an organization because the type of candidate that you're going to get is going to be top notch. And really, some of the key takeaways and the purpose of today's call is to get some of the newest information out to you all. Make sure that you have up to date information, that you're able to understand what the hiring landscape looks like now. We're able to help you understand what the hiring landscape may look like in the future. We really want to bridge that gap and enable you to tap into these job seekers to help your company thrive. We want to make sure that the military hiring folks at any organization are working with the everyday talent acquisition folks at those organizations. Tapping into the Indeed account that many of you already have, but might not know of all the capabilities that you're able to do, and really bring these candidates in and attract them into your organization. Those are some of the key takeaways that we have, and we'll love to open it up for some Q&A and see, what things would you like to learn a little bit more of, and what else would you like to see from Indeed?
Thank you so much for the presentation. We're going to switch over to the Q&A at this point. So not sure if anybody has any questions, but I invite you to put those into the Q&A. And I guess right now we don't have any specific questions. Maybe you can talk a little bit more about how to get in touch with somebody from Indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have indeed.com/hire/hire a vet, or you're able to just email vetstrategy@indeed.com. Like I mentioned before, most companies across the country have an Indeed account. Many of you might not know who is operating that, whether at your company or at Indeed. So if you were to email vetstrategy@indeed.com, I can bridge that gap for you all to anybody internally and make sure that you're getting the data and all these strategic points, to your organization, so you're able to make those decisions moving forward.
And I do have a question in here in the Q&A. The question is there an easy way to search for military talent?
Yeah, absolutely. So if your company has a resume subscription, you're able to type in really any keyword or skill set that comes to mind, and you're able to go on the left-hand rail, and it's going to say active or former military, and you're able to filter out all of the civilians, so you're able to see only military talent. By doing so, you're able to reach out and contact those folks for free. So it doesn't go against your monthly contact allotment.
And here is a another question. Is there a keyword for military spouses or for military spouse?
Great question. That's something we're actively working on. The One of the troubles that we see with military spouses is if there was a place on their resume to put military spouse, is that gonna hurt the candidate for the employers that don't understand the skill sets they bring? So any type of information that could potentially um, be discriminatory against a job seeker, we're not going to have that. So my team is actively working on what is the best strategy we can put in place to help companies that are trying to hire military spouses engage with this audience in a safe way that employers who cannot or don't understand military spouses and what they bring to an organization, they can't discriminate against them.
Great. Another question that came in, do you have any kind of assistance in helping companies read and understand military resumes?
Yes, we do. If you send an email, I'll send you some of the links that we have. And a lot of the work that we do over here as well is really prep the transition in population to civilianize their resume and really uh, put that foot forward before they start applying to jobs, just so they don't confuse any of the hiring managers or recruiters on the other end. So we really want to ensure that when they are applying to a job, they do have that civilian resume. For the times that they don't, we're happy to help you understand that as well.
Another question, comment, really appreciate the information. Will the deck be shared? And if your organization has been slow to create a real strategy on this, do you have suggestions on the first step? I.e., if you don't have ERGs in place or even recruitment material geared towards the military, any suggestions on how to resonate with this audience? Again, just getting started and lots to tackle. Any insights on how to start?
Yeah. I would love to set up a call with you. We can share our best practices. One of the best things about having an internal resource group are the opportunities that can come from it. So I actually was the treasurer of the Veterans and Allies group back, and just having that opportunity to join a group, really work with the individuals at Indeed. That's kind of what spearheaded this department of Indeed. So you never know what really is going to come out of those ERGs, and I'm happy to really share best practices and kind of give you some insight on how to start small and then work your way up and build bigger.
That's great. Another question here is, I'm a veteran job developer with the Department of Employment Services, and I assist veterans in finding any way I can contact the veterans announcing upcoming job fairs, employment fairs, etc.
Yeah, we have a job. Well, we have hiring events on our platform, which employers are able to set up for job fairs and employment fairs. That's a little bit trickier to promote. I'm happy to talk with you on how to do so. When it comes to Indeed and the amount of jobs that we have on the search results page, we do have a quality control team, and we do want to make sure that every job that is on Indeed's platform that a job seeker can see, search for, and apply to does have uh, some type of monetary backing to that. So if it's just a job fair, um, we want to ensure that the candidates are going to that job fair and they understand all the jobs that are going to be there, because we want the most tailored solution to what that job seeker's needs are. Um, so it's hard for them to find a job fair if they're just searching for a sales position, if that makes sense. So the more specific you could be of what types of jobs are there, then you're able to post in a way that you're talking about those positions, so you drive those types of candidates. But it's hard to just say there's an employment fair in XYZ, because those job seekers really want to make sure that there's a real opportunity to get hired when they apply, if that makes sense.
Sure, thank you. Another question on here. Could you expand a little bit on the hashtag ready to work feature?
Yeah, the ready to work feature is something that we kind of stopped all the motion of a lot of projects and really put everything we had into ready to work, which has been phenomenal from that team. Essentially, on the job seeker side, there's a button on their profile that they're able to click that says that they are ready to work. By doing so, employers that are looking to hire immediately, they're able to look and see that list of candidates that have selected that button. The name of the game is really, we want to make sure that every job seeker is going to get hired as quickly as possible. So enabling a feature like that really bridges the gap and shortens that time period between employer and job seeker looking for their new job. So that's something that employers are able to look at, and for job seekers, we're encouraging them to click on that on our end as well.
Another question is related to resumes a little bit more. When military members apply with Indeed, is there any assistance in helping them translate their military experience to the civilian side?
Yeah, we have so on the employer, wait, sorry, can you read that again? On the employer side to translate for
So
veterans who are applying.
Yeah, the question is whether Indeed offers any assistance in helping veterans translate their military experience on the resume to a more sort of civilian um, to more civilian verbiage, I guess.
Yeah. No, no. Thanks for asking that question. Um, yeah, again, I think it all starts with the transition assistance, how we're able to tap into this population with partnering with you guys at Hiring Our Heroes and educate the job seeker first and foremost on how to properly search for a job that's a civilian job, and then how to go through the steps of making sure that their resume is in a civilian format. We have a ton of resources on veterans.indeed.com for this population, so they're able to translate their skills before they start applying. The worst thing that can happen is for veterans to start applying to jobs, and before their resume even gets to a hiring manager, they're getting screened by either software or an inexperienced recruiter that might not understand what they're looking at, and they'll pass up on those candidates. So we are building out more materials and training for both parties to educate them on how to one civilianize and how to read any type of um, military resume that they come across as well.
And I'll add to that here that from the hiring or hero side, we work with this population quite a lot and have some tools available for them through our resume engine and my career spark, and those websites are resumeengine.org and mycareerspark.org. So we encourage candidates to look at that as they're um, trying to translate that resume from the military side to the civilian side. Another question, Drew, in the Q&A here. Are the employers in Indeed open for a tailored event for their organization to fill their specific job requirements with veterans?
Yeah, we have hiring events, which has moved to a virtual platform, but we could also do hiring events in person as well, depending on the local codes. And essentially, the way we're able to set up these events are depending on what type of jobs that you have, whether it's sales, manufacturing, customer service, you name it. We can set up those as jobs. So job seekers are able to type in sales, find that there's going to be a hiring event in their location, and they're able to RSVP directly to the employer. And by doing so, then you start creating your own pipeline of candidates and you stay in touch with them. leading up to the day of the event. And when they RSVP, they're able to even select different time slots to speak with your recruiters as well. So when you think of the bigger job fairs that are out there, we're able to do that customized per employer and per different jobs that you guys might have.
Thank you, Drew. That is, I think, all of the questions that I've seen come through. If anybody else has another question to add here, you can go ahead and type it in. There is one more thing, if you could maybe elaborate on how employers, or if employers can identify themselves as military friendly on Indeed.
Yeah, great question. Uh, Indeed has company pages. So the best thing about a company page is it's yours to really highlight, are you military friendly? Are you military ready? You're able to put all that different content into the why join us section. We were on a call last week with United Rentals, and they do a phenomenal job highlighting why they're veteran ready. The same with Wells Fargo, they do that. I'm happy to kind of show you how you can show that, and then what we're doing on the job seeker side is trying to get a list of all those types of companies. So it's kind of a quick list for them, so they're able to go right in to the job, the why join us section, and understand why you're a great organization. Many of the folks who are transitioning out don't know what they don't know. So the closer that we can get your brand out there and in front of these job seekers, the better that connection could be for them.
And another question in here, may I have a phone number or email for Andrew so that I can talk directly with him on a one-on-one basis? I think we can share would the best thing to do be to go through the email you provided there?
Yeah, the best thing is to go through the email. I can, that email goes directly to my inbox as well. So, and it goes to a few other folks just so we can see what type of questions are coming in. But literally any question that you may have, vetstrategy@indeed.com. We're always on. We're always checking it. We're always getting back, and we're always trying to collaborate. So anything that you guys have to say, please shoot us a note. We would love to hear any type of feedback, questions, or how we can strategize with you all.
Thank you. And this was a great, very informative session. I would add quickly that as a program manager for the fellowship programs, I work with so many anxious transitioning service members who are about to become veterans looking for jobs. So I really want to thank you for all that you do to help employers navigate and work with the veteran and military spouse community. I see firsthand how it makes a huge difference. And also want to thank all of the employers that are on the line today who are taking the time out to learn a little bit more about how to navigate veteran military spouse employment. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you, Drew, and thanks again to all the employers for all the support for the veteran and military spouse communities out there. So thank you, and have a great rest of this evening.
Thank you, everyone.